Welcome back, astronauts. In this video, I'm going to be talking about why 2025 will be a massive year for Starfield, and I'll also go over your top comments as well. So let's launch into orbit and check out everything that's happening around Starfield. So you may be asking, why will 2025 be such a massive year for Starfield, and why will 2025 bring in even more fans to the game? Well, to answer this question, we must look at what's happening in real life in 2025, something so big, something so groundbreaking that no matter what, it is going to bring a massive amount of new fans into Starfield. So in 2025, we as humans will actually be landing on the moon and walking on the moon again through NASA's Artemis program. If you've never heard of Artemis, it is the mission-based program that will be bringing humans back to the moon in 2025. I believe that this is going to be so groundbreaking, so massive to the human race that people will naturally gravitate towards Starfield, and they'll definitely want to jump into Starfield. I think Starfield is going to see such a big resurgence in players during this time. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about Artemis, what it is exactly, and why this is such a big deal. Of course, I've already stated the fact that we are going to be going to the moon and walking on the moon once again, but there's so many awesome parts and technology that's involved with this Artemis program, and boy, it would be cool to see a mod made around Artemis for Starfield. And now let's talk about the adventure 4 astronauts are going to be going on in 2025 and how this is going to really bring excitement back into space and into Starfield for sure. So first of all, let me talk about this SLS rocket right here. Again, it'd be so cool to see this in Starfield as a mod or something like that. But this SLS rocket, it comprises of the boosters at the bottom there, as you can see, and then it comprises of a craft called the Orion. On at the top, there's that white part, and that is where the astronauts will be sitting during their flight. So this craft, it also has an emergency booster system that will eject the astronauts away from the bottom part of the SLS rocket in case anything goes wrong. And I love that NASA designed this into the Orion spacecraft. Now let's start things off with the actual launch sequence right here. So right here it's showing the SLS rocket launching from Earth, and this is what NASA.gov had to say about this. It said, 4 astronauts will depart from Launch Pad 39B at Kennedy Space Center in Florida in 2025 atop the Space Launch System SLS, the only rocket powerful enough to send Orion, its crew, and their supplies to the moon in a single launch. The crew will be selected from among the most diverse astronaut corps in history, each equipped with unique skills and intensively trained. And the next step obviously is to actually get to the moon, and this is what NASA.gov had to say about that. It says, first the crew will launch to Earth orbit, where they will perform systems checks and solar panel adjustments on Orion. Then a powerful push from SLS's interim cryogenic propulsion stage will help Orion perform a translunar injection maneuver, setting its course to the moon. So I know there's a lot of fancy jargon there, but again, it would be really cool to see these systems, like these real life systems, involved in Starfield somehow. I'm totally geeking out on this stuff. So this is what NASA had to say about actually orbiting the moon and entering the moon's orbit. So it says, for several days, the crew will travel toward the moon and perform corrective engine burns to intercept the moon's gravitational field. At the right time and location, Orion will perform a series of 2 engine burns to place the spacecraft in a lunar near rectilinear halo orbit, known as an NRHO. Again, I'm learning stuff here just as you are, but it goes on to say, from hundreds of potential orbits, NASA selected NRHO to achieve long-term Artemis goals. So I guess the really cool thing about the orbit around the moon, at least what they're planning with that, is they'll be able to adjust that orbit a lot more than previous missions, like with Apollo, for instance. So So they're going to have a lot more flexibility, which is really cool. Now, NASA also mentioned this. They said on future missions, NASA and its partners will assemble the Gateway Lunar Space Station in orbit, or lunar orbit, to serve as a hub for Artemis missions. So yes, there's even going to be the very first moon space station. And we also have a look at that right here. They have a detailed schematic of it. And this is going to be amazing because a lot of different people and a lot of different countries, I guess, and commercial flights possibly, will be actually able to dock to this space station, which will be permanently orbiting the moon, and then they will be able to go from this space station to the moon's surface. So this is going to be absolutely groundbreaking when this space station is developed. Now, beyond this, SpaceX will be heavily involved in the Artemis mission in 2025. And this is what they had to say about this. It says, NASA has selected SpaceX to provide the human landing system that will transport Artemis 3 astronauts from Orion in lunar orbit to the surface of the moon and back again. SpaceX plans to use a unique concept of operations to increase the overall efficiency of their lander. After a series of tests, SpaceX will fly at least one uncrewed demo mission that lands Starship on the lunar surface. When Starship has met all of NASA's requirements and high standards for crew safety, it will be ready for its first Artemis mission. And this is actually an official concept right here from NASA showing what the Starship should look like when it lands with astronauts on board on the moon's surface. That's going to be amazing. Now, we also have this concept render, which was done by Mac Crawford of NASASpaceflight.com, showing what it could possibly look like when the Orion spacecraft docks with Starship from SpaceX. Now, I don't know if it's going to be exactly like this, but this is such a cool render here, and I cannot wait for this moment to actually happen. Now, in terms of the exact location they will be landing, this is what it said. It says, NASA has its sights set on locations around the South Pole for the Artemis era of human lunar exploration. Extreme contrasting conditions make it a challenging location for Earthlings to land, live, and work, but the region's unique characteristics hold promise for unprecedented deep space scientific discoveries. Using advanced technology, including autonomous systems, the crew inside of Starship will land at a carefully selected site within a 100-meter radius. And this is actual official concept art of what that could look like, which looks freaking amazing. Just imagine going to YouTube and seeing this live on YouTube, or a video captured by the astronauts on YouTube in 2025. There's going to be so much excitement around this, and again, I get goosebumps just talking about it. And finally, the astronauts will return back home to Earth after this extremely complex mission, and the world will be welcoming them home. And again, hopefully we get some HD footage from the surface of the moon, which we've never really seen before in this way. So again, these astronauts, not only will they be extremely famous, but they will be extremely proud that they accomplished this with NASA and SpaceX, because this is going to be freaking amazing for this all to happen, and I am certainly excited for it. And again, all of this, to me, it really ties back into Starfield. I think we're going to see that resurgence of people coming back into Starfield in 2025 and onwards. It's just going to keep on getting better and better for the space exploration. So hit that like button if you are excited for everything space and Starfield coming up in the coming years. And now it's time to talk with you all and respond to your top comments, starting off with David's top comment here, who says, it would be cool to see dynamic quests appear, like when you send your crew out for tasks and they get taken by space pirates. Then you have to go rescue them. Yes, that would be freaking awesome to see something dynamic like this involving your crew, where you actually have to go out and rescue them and go on rescue missions. I really, really hope something like this is in the game. There's no word on if this type of feature is in the game, but we do know, of course, that your crew will be helping you gather resources. And the next top comment comes from Richard Joy 79, who says, with the possibility of having multiple ships, you would think that when crewed, we could send them out on trade missions without us on board. We could earn some cashola from all those ships. And now for the next top comment from Richard Joy 79, who says, with the possibility of having multiple ships, you would think that when crewed, we could send them out on trade missions without us on board. We can earn some cashola from all those ships that are gathering dust in the inventory. So yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about this, how they want to be able to utilize their other ships and have their crew members actually man these ships and pilot these ships, automatically between planets. That would be awesome. I don't think we have confirmation on if this is a thing just yet. What we do know is that you will be able to set up outposts and establish outposts on multiple planets and then set up trade routes as well. So how these trade routes work exactly, we don't know just yet. Will involve massive trade routes between planets at a huge distance, at a long distance, or will it be more isolated just to, certain planets? That's going to be the question, but regardless, I really hope this is a fully fleshed out feature in the game. But that's going to do it for the video, astronauts. I hope you enjoyed it. I love talking about all this space stuff in Starfield with you all as we continue to count down to Starfield's launch. Leave a comment down below and it may be featured as a top comment in an upcoming video. I'll see you astronauts next time. Take care and see you later.